Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in the program after this interview or discussion with the Deputy Minister of Innovation and Research here in Greece. We have a very interesting presentation for you right now. A walkthrough of the Cortex Innovation District, an example of a successful, fast-growing innovation center located at St. Louis, Missouri. Mr. Tim Gaidis, Principal and Senior Project Designer of HOK Architectural Company, which designed actually Cortex, will walk us through this fantastic center. So let's all of us watch it together.
Hello everyone, I'm Tim Gaidis, a Principal and Senior Project Designer with HOK, a global architecture and engineering firm with a wide range of services and markets which include work in a number of innovation communities. While I'm sorry I can't be with you virtually today, I'm excited to be able to share some key development milestones and current status in the Cortex innovation community in St. Louis, Missouri, USA. This special place is a 200-acre innovation and technology hub and life sciences district built around the idea that together we can do more. Here, you have access to the most important resource of all, a diverse community of people who are big thinkers and risk takers, looking for opportunities to nurture ideas into commercial innovation with momentum to share and learn at the world's largest weekly tech conference, and by leveraging time and space together in ways that create sums that are more than their individual parts, transform the world we know today into the world we want tomorrow. Cortex is home to over 400 companies and organizations and was founded in 2002 by 5 anchor institutions: Washington University, St. Louis University, the University of Missouri St. Louis, the BJC Washington University Medical Center, and the Missouri Botanical Garden. These 5 institutions, along with dozens of additional stakeholders and partners, developed an aggressive 30-year plan that was set into motion in late 2005. And now at roughly the halfway point in that plan, we can see that a gradual start is beginning to accelerate and reach toward the district's goals. During this time, HOK has provided master planning services, designed 5 core and shell buildings which have been constructed, designed 2 more which are under construction now, are currently designing our 3rd historic adaptive reuse, have 2 more projects planned at a conceptual level, and have designed spaces for more than 20 tenants with more on the boards. We're really excited about all of our groundbreaking work in Cortex. But how did it evolve? In 1998, the Center for Emerging Technologies was developed through a state initiative, but took time to gain momentum. In 2005, Cortex developed their first building, Cortex 1, as their flagship launch, anticipating it would activate Forest Park Avenue here, highlighted with the orange dashed arrow, and connect with the Center for Emerging Technologies. But in actuality, the next phase of buildings, DuPont Soleil, 4240 Duncan, and 4260 Forest Park Avenue, along with the Cortex Commons, created a new critical mass around the intersection of Duncan and Boyle Avenues, from which the newest generation of development has expanded. Let me take you inside a few of these buildings. Cortex 1 is a 3-level, highly flexible lab building with multiple tenant space configurations focused on attracting life sciences tenants. 4240 Duncan is an adaptive reuse of an historic 1947 telephone manufacturing building with large floor plates where we cut light wells through the center of the building to distribute daylight and activate a 2-level concourse that winds through the building, and really acts as a meetup and event place for the entire district. This building and its Cambridge Innovation Center co-working tenant and Venture Cafe events programming spin-off created the major tipping point and acceleration of development in the district. Cortex Commons was developed as Cortex's front yard and is a multifunctional park and outdoor gathering space. 4220 Duncan. The next building is a 186,000 square foot facility with a color-changing facade that parallels the transformational companies within. 4220's 5 levels are efficiently planned for both lab and tech tenants and house Innovation Hall that combines a restaurant with a 300-seat divisible multi-purpose room and small and medium collaboration areas that even people who are not formal tenants in Cortex can utilize. 4220 is a hive of activity during the days and nights and even weekends for events of all types. Along with the Cortex Commons, 4240 and 4220 Duncan initiated an intentionally planned quasi-public network of innovation spaces, seen here in orange, that integrates circulation pathways with programmable inside and outside areas that weave through the district and provide a diverse set of environments for people to meet, collaborate, and advance their dreams. Now, the next phase of this block, 4210 Duncan, is currently under construction. This 316,000 square foot 9-level building is designed to accommodate both lab and technology tenants and is the latest development in Cortex. This video begins with Cortex in its context of St. Louis, Missouri in the United States. As we come down to the intersection of Duncan and Boyle Avenues, right here the Cortex Commons, and to the right you can see 4240 Duncan. The new Aloft Hotel in our foreground. 4220 Duncan is in between the 4240 and 4210 Duncan buildings. You can see the new 4210 Duncan here with its parking structures behind it and peeking down into that outdoor concourse, which is activated by event spaces. The north facade of 4210 Duncan here, and then winding down to the gateway entry into Cortex here with the Cortex Gateway Plaza to the left. Commercial space at the street level of 4210 Duncan for all types of uses. Here you can see the second lobby entry up a stair or in the ramp that winds around the tenant spaces and connects with this west drive both to the parking structure and then to the right for the east terrace at 4220 Duncan. All of these spaces are very well connected for pedestrians and activation here. You can see the different types of spaces here under the garage. Here we've carved out a little bit of space for different types of uses, both relaxing and activities. A central stair here which connects to the lobby to the left. We carved out a parking level here to create a 2-story grotto for events and presentations on the outside. And then this cascading stair comes down to the Gateway Plaza here with these meeting niches there on the right side and lots of gathering space. If you were coming from a car, you'd enter at the south entry here and into the main lobby. You can see the reception desk to the right, elevators to the upper levels to the left here, and lots of different types of spaces for people to gather and collaborate. Loose seating, enclosed lounge areas, a little bit there in the distance. A communicating stair that connects both level 1 and level 2, really bringing that level 1 activity all the way up into level 2, and then weaving around here and seeing how this building really finishes itself. At the end of the day, Cortex is about bringing people with ideas together. Thank you for letting me bring ours to you. Have a great seminar.
Well, we thank you for this wonderful presentation. To talk more about Cortex, we have with us Ms. Beth Letscher, Vice President Communication and Strategic Planning, Cortex Innovation Community. Hello, Beth.
Hello, nice to see you.
Good morning, actually. Thank you for being with us, and we all are impressed, by the way, from what we just saw in this fantastic walkthrough of Cortex. Could you please tell us a few more things about Cortex and its future planning as well? Thank you.
Certainly. I have a few slides to talk a little bit more about Cortex. Would you like me to show them now?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Great. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Well, once again, thank you very much for having me today. Tim Gaidis did a wonderful job showing you the physical environment around Cortex. And today I'm going to talk a little bit more about the people and the programming that makes the district really a community and not just a office park or a place that you go to work. A little bit of history about Cortex. We're part of a three-member innovation corridor in the St. Louis, Missouri region. We are the largest and the oldest innovation campus and sort of the furthest developed, I'd say. We are building a 200-acre mixed-use entrepreneurial community, and that word mixed use is really important to what we're building, as we want to bring in different uses that appeal to different people at different times. We are intentionally very diverse, and we are capitalizing on the demographic shift that we're seeing between workers and corporations that are returning to the city in order to locate. These are the three things that Cortex is really about at our base level. First is jobs. We are here to facilitate the environment that will grow well-paying jobs in the area. We are here to help increase the city's tax base, to support basic services, and we're here to do this work in the most inclusive way that we are able. This is where Cortex is located, and we are surrounded by those 5 founding partners that Tim mentioned: St. Louis University, Washington University, Barnes-Jewish Healthcare, the Missouri Botanical Garden, University of Missouri in St. Louis. What we also have is our downtown is to the east of us. Our central city is there, along with just to our west is our large municipal park. This gives us a larger community that is really rich in amenities. Again, to our east is our city's arts district, arts and theater district. To our west in that municipal park, we have a lot of attraction generators. Our fine art museum is located there, our zoo, our large municipal theater, and our science center are located there. And then to our north and south, we are surrounded by residential options at a variety of price points and configurations. Cortex really being in the center of all of those amenities has proved to be a really big community building aspect for us as we pull some of those amenities into the district, as well as build bridges to those amenities so that our tenants and our companies and employees can enjoy them easily as well. When Cortex was first being formed, we did a master plan, and one of the very important things that we did right from the beginning was we mandated active ground floor uses. And that meant that there's a lot of glass first floor places in Cortex. These can be event spaces, they can be workout facilities, they can be conference centers, restaurants, retail, but it's really a way for people to see people at work, people at play, the energy that happens within the building without just seeing people behind their desks and in front of a computer. Cortex has over 400 companies located in the district. These are the sectors that our companies are mainly focused on. We started as a life science district with our connection to our nearby universities, but we've since diversified and we branch out. And really the key to some of Cortex's success has been the overlap of some of these sectors. When we look at how life science and geospatial come together, we get some really interesting synergies, and that's been a real strong success point for the district. Here's a list of corporations that are located in the district. The interesting thing about these corporations is that the reason they're here, the value proposition that Cortex provides, is that they are following the startup community. Corporations like to be around the startups. They like being near the talent. They like being near new and emerging technologies. And they also like their employees to be near the entrepreneurial spirit of startups. They really feel that that helps motivate their employees in an entirely different way than if they were located just in their place of business. I'm going to talk a little bit about some activators and accelerators in the district. These are organizations that we bring into the district, generally in partnerships that run programs that bring people into the district and bring more activity. Oops, excuse me. I'm first going to start with Venture Cafe. Venture Cafe is a global not-for-profit organization whose mission is to connect innovators to make things happen. Seems like a very simple concept, but what they do is they host a flagship event called the Thursday Gathering. It's held weekly, every Thursday evening. Between 400 and 600 people gather in the Cortex district. They gather to network, to meet each other. These are people who run startups, corporations, people in support organizations like banks and auditing, but these are also people who are in the innovation community. So we get artists that are doing new and interesting things with their art. We get people who are civic minded, who have initiatives that are happening in the city and want to talk to people about that. There are between 12 and 15 education sessions that are brought to the district by the community. We don't organize those. And it's a fun evening to be able to sit and talk to somebody you probably may not have run into during your regular day job over a glass of wine or a beer. We do believe that this is the largest weekly innovation gathering in the world happening right in Cortex. Next, our Center for Emerging Technologies. The center runs a Square One entrepreneurial training program. These training programs range from helping entrepreneurs who are very early stage. If you have an idea and you don't know what to do with it next, the Square One program can help you. There's also more advanced mentoring opportunities, and where people are helping others going out and finding funding once they have their business plan developed and the like. This program is specifically targeted to reach underrepresented communities, either in bioscience or information technology, manufacture, consumer products, in order to help build new companies in those communities, as well as generate wealth for the entrepreneurs that are working in those communities. Next, I'll talk quickly about BioSTL and the BioGenerator Accelerator. BioSTL is a not-for-profit organization who is really driving the force behind St. Louis's success in the bioscience region. BioGenerator Accelerator is an accelerator program that invests in very early stage, again, bioscience companies. They provide them with free access to wet lab space and research equipment. They put them into formal mentoring programs, and as I said, they put financial investment into those companies as well. This is a highly competitive program, and you can see by the numbers on the right what some of the results have been for the BioGenerator companies. Finally, the last activator and accelerator I'm going to talk about is the Cambridge Innovation Center. CIC is a hotel for entrepreneurs. It is a place where an entrepreneur can come and bring their laptop and their cell phone, and everything else is provided for them. Furniture, offices, conference rooms, access to a communal kitchen, and all the business services that they would need. This is really one of the key points about CIC is that they offer all of these services on a month-to-month lease, which means that a company is not putting a large capital outlay out for office space, and they can come and go as their business dictates, but they can also expand and contract as their business dictates as well. CIC has been able to form a community around all of these startups, these little startup hives, and they're located in three different buildings within the Cortex community, and really have become the heartbeat and the energy of the district by fostering this environment. A lot of our corporate tenants want to be located near CIC just to be able to have their employees interact with the entrepreneurs and get that energy off of the hustle that those entrepreneurs are going through every day. A couple other programming pieces that Cortex engages in. One is really business support program. We run tech business seminars, training. We hold talent fairs for internships and for full-time employees. And we also host the St. Louis Startup Week, which is really a big celebration of the St. Louis startup community. And we hold it right in Cortex. We also do community programming, and this is programming geared around getting people out of their buildings, getting people out from behind their computers, and start and encouraging them to mix with people that maybe they wouldn't have mixed with just doing their daily job. We like to refer to these as serendipitous collisions. And that's when two people with seemingly not much in common happen to strike up a conversation over a common interest and find out that they do have more in common. And that can translate into new business ventures. We've seen it happen already, and it's been very exciting, especially when you get those cross collaborations between different sectors. So this community programming can take the form of chess tournaments, music concerts, farmers markets. We have movies. All of these take place on our Cortex Commons, which is our community green space and our community gathering space. A couple other things just to wrap up. I mentioned earlier that Cortex was surrounded by lots of amenities, and we had this larger community surrounding just the district boundaries. Well, this is one of those developments that is under construction right now that is just outside our boundary. This is going to be an area called City Foundry at Cortex. It has retail, entertainment district, some office, and also residential. These will be great amenities for our tenants. And as you can see here, there's going to be a bridge that is dedicated pedestrian and bicycle that can connect our tenants directly to the City Foundry amenities right next door. Excuse me. Within the district, we are increasing our residential presence. And here is the tech lab building that Tim showed you as well. Finally, the last building that is under construction in the district right now is this Neuroscience Research Building. Washington University in St. Louis, which is one of the top neuroscience programs in the United States, is moving all of their neuroscience research actually just a few blocks away, but into the district because they want their top talent in neuroscience to be able to access the kind of environment that we have at Cortex in order to share those amenities and become part of the community. So that is what I have about Cortex and our urban innovation community.
Well, thank you very much. Seems that you've been doing a great job there, and you're creating a very interesting surrounding for the people who are working there. Congratulations, by the way. I do have some questions, though, since we are Thessaloniki and we are envisioning to, let's say, transform Thessaloniki as one very, let's say, innovative district of research and technology. How did the seed of an idea blossom into one of the Midwest's largest innovation hubs and far more the compilation of its parts?
Right.
How this came up? And to add to the question, how you managed to collect the necessary first funding for, let's say,
Right.
implementing the first phase of this project?
Right. So we had, this actually came up in a number of different fronts. One, we had our founding partners, which were the leaders of the top research institutions in St. Louis. They felt that they were starting to lose their research talent, those top researchers that were bringing in the most grant dollars to continue their research, because those researchers were not allowed to start companies in their university labs. It was a rule with their government funding that they could not start private companies that way. So they needed a place to spin out into privately held buildings where they could start companies. That led to those university leads starting to look at a model for creating a place together because they all had a mutual shared interest. At the same time, our civic leaders looked at this area of town between all these university partners, and it was truly blighted. It was high crime. It was really old legacy industrial with not a lot of jobs. And they said, we would like to transform this area physically, and we will help you do that. So the university and the research partners contributed $29 million to a fund that it was a loan to the district that could be used over and over again to purchase land, build buildings meant for this purpose, and then to sell them to private developers. And then those funds could be recycled again over and over. So that was the primary genesis of how Cortex was started. Another good example that Cortex actually followed is in Boston, Massachusetts in the United States, in Kendall Square near the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. That's another excellent example of what Cortex is trying to accomplish.
That means that the state also, that was the kind of, let's say, a public and private partnership, correct?
Yes.
And in this respect, how the state managed to also attract, let's say, corporations, because definitely, corporations are needed, for such projects. Did the state provided any incentives, for these corporations to come to Cortex?
Yes, over the years, there have been a variety of different state programs that have helped incentivize corporations coming to Cortex. Most of them have been around job creation and companies promising, if they locate in an area, to create those jobs, those well-paying, high-tech jobs that we were looking to attract. The other thing that the state and the city were able to do was to turn over certain development rights to Cortex, where we were able to control really what the physical environment was going to look like. We had approval over any building design. We had approval over any company coming in. That's normally a function of the city, but they turned those rights over to Cortex because they knew that Cortex had a master plan put in place. The city and the state approved the master plan. So Cortex was able to take a more active role, similar to what the role a city would have taken.
So Cortex is it became a brand, let's say, okay?
Yeah.
So let me ask you questions. Are there any other similar to Cortex centers or Cortex centers elsewhere besides St. Louis, Missouri?
There are similar innovation districts globally, and in the United States. Cortex has one location. We are place-based. We have talked about taking our programming functions outside of our district. We do work very collaboratively with two other districts that are located in St. Louis. We sort of form an innovation corridor, and we work very collaboratively with them. We each have our own little specialization, our own little niche, so that we're not competing with each other. But we take we collaborate on programming with some of them.
You are not thinking this outside of Missouri for, let's say, are there any states or maybe outside of US being interested in, let's say, adopting, this project also, having...
Yeah, absolutely. I would recommend anyone to look at the Global Institute on Innovation Districts. I believe Julie Wagner may have been speaking earlier. And they are really looking at the form and the model of an innovation district as an economic development tool. And they're looking at locations all over the world that are doing similar things and being able to move this model forward. Cortex has been doing this. We're now over 20 years old, and it has taken us this long to have as much success as we've had. These are very long-term commitments in order to create something similar to this. And the Global Institute on Innovation District is really tracking what are those success measures and how can other locations replicate what Cortex and similar places have been able to do.
And final question. In very short, let's say a few words, what is the economic and functional impact of Cortex within the St. Louis region? Let's say, how much percentage of the GDP of St. Louis Cortex contributes?
Oh, I don't know if I can give you a percentage of GDP, but I can tell you that Cortex has been the economic engine driving the St. Louis region. St. Louis experienced a few decades worth of disinvestment, and Cortex has really been the first place that we're seeing job growth, we're seeing attraction, and it's spreading out to other places in St. Louis. We are incubating companies that are moving to other locations in the city of St. Louis, and which is fantastic for them because we're just seeing that exponential growth keep moving. On our website, we have an entire impact report that can give you all of the numbers, and I welcome you to check it out because that can give you all of those financial details.
Well, Ms. Letscher, thank you very much again. Congratulations again, for the work that you've been doing at Cortex. It's a great paradigm, for us and for other cities as well. So thank you again, and we're looking forward to seeing you again in one of our future events, live, of course.
Great.
Have a very good day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.